my overview for intermediate accounting or accounting 202A that I'm going to be offering this fall 2023 at Irvine Valley College. But disclaimer and copyright notice, the information and opinions in this presentation are those of myself and not my employers or affiliated organizations, including but not limited to IVC and the South Orange County Community College District. The presentation is for educational purposes only and does not constitute any legal or accounting presentation and contents therein. Our copyright 2008 to 2023 by Bennett Tchaikovsky. All rights are reserved. Other parties mentioned this are the holders of their own copyrights. So I'm very excited. So the way my class for this fall, so for those of you who are not familiar with, I am the accounting professor, Bennett Tchaikovsky. I am teaching this class, intermediate accounting. It does not transfer to a four-year school, but it will basically count towards the California Board of Accountancy educational requirement. And I'm also going to show you how it can also be used as well. And I'll do that just in a short moment. Okay. So let's just go ahead and take a look at our class schedule here for the fall of 2023. When you come over here to the accounting and we look at 202A, right? So I'm going to be live streaming this class or this course from BISTIC 101, which is on the Irvine Valley College campus. But if you can't attend the in-person, it's okay, because basically exams will all be done online, or you can come in person. And also basically you have exams either online or in person. And as long as you lecture via Zoom, or you can attend in person. I don't make lectures mandatory to attend. However, I will record them. And I think you'll get more out of the class if you are in fact attending the lectures. So that's kind of how things will basically work in terms of basically the logistics for the class. So if you're in the state of California where you're paying $46 a unit, would love to have you come and enjoy my class this fall 2023 at Irvine Valley College. One other thing I'll kind of mention too is that there is a prerequisite, which is financial accounting. This can actually sometimes take time to kind of go through and make happen. So if you are planning on wanting to take the class and you want to register for it, this is my school email. You're more than welcome to basically go ahead and email me. If you took accounting 1A or financial accounting at another school, you just have to go through and basically clear the course prerequisites. And let's look about how to do that real quick. This is what's going to come up and basically show. So over here, basically, if you want to basically go through and request to basically go through and get a particular prerequisite, right over here, you'll basically go over here and you kind of scroll down, prerequisite placement clearance, and then you'll click on this. And then of course, what I love about this form is that because I'm already registered in here over here, it's showing me as my student and all these other kinds of things. So you would basically say accounting 202B, and you would basically show over here, you would go through and then kind of show whatever documentation is being asked for. If this is also your first new time to Irvine Valley College, you'll have to go over here to basically apply to IVC. So there is, I believe, a medical insurance requirement. I don't think it's that bad. But again, if you're a California resident, take advantage, $46 a unit. It's an absolute steal. Okay. So let's go over here and talk a little bit about the class. So again, it is going to be online or in person. It's entirely up to you. I will be streaming live up Monday nights from 7 to 9:50 p.m. in BISTIC 101. The class will start August 21st. And again, the tuition can't beat the price. Now, what's really important, though, is that if you're getting your CPA license in New York State or in South Carolina, they require that certain classes be completed at the upper division level. California does not. California is very liberal in terms of how it goes through, or I'm not sure if liberals are actually, we are liberal. So they're very liberal in terms of how they do a lot of things, but especially when it comes to the Board of Accountancy. They just have, our state has a very different philosophy, which I tend to fully agree with. So, but this is how this will kind of go through and work. And when it comes to, if you're coming into intermediate accounting and you're stressed out about like saying, oh my God, I don't know what to do. It's been 10 years since I've had financial accounting. Don't worry. What I'm planning on doing over here is when you sign up for the class, you're going to be get to see Canvas. And within Canvas, what I have all of the homework packets from my financial accounting course that you can use to study for this actual course. So that's what we're going to be going through and doing. So again, if it's been a while, it's okay. But you will have to do a little bit more work in order to kind of go through and prepare. So right over here, just a little bit about me. I am the accounting professor. I guess I am today. Maybe I'm not trying to go through and fake it. Basically, I've taught this class at IVC 7 times every fall semester. And then I've done 2 times for Cal State Fullerton since the fall of 20. Basically, I've also taught it 2 times for Cal State Fullerton. Now, when I do teach the class, the way I do it is I'm not really going to be using a lot of PowerPoint. The way I like to go through and do it is I like to go over here to sec.gov and then look up companies like eBay. And so when I want to teach like discontinued operations, what I'm going to go ahead and do is find, let's go over here. Great. So when I teach discontinued operations, this is the kind of stuff I'm going to go through and do. Is I'm basically going to go over here and basically teach you like, oh, how do companies really go through and do it? So I will be using KESO problems, but at the same time, I'm also going to be going through and using the SEC to teach the SEC filings to go through and teach you. Also over here, by the way, I'm sorry for my voice. I finally got it back. Very excited about that. But if I come over here, one of the other things I can also kind of go through and look at doing, and let me just pull up here. I'll just pull up this one right over here. So what I am going to be going through and doing is providing you with a lot of resources. So for example, I will be providing you with different questions from the Wiley textbook with solutions. And by the way, thank you for liking and subscribing to my channel if you haven't done so already. But over here, you're going to find a lot of stuff like with like video solutions to like different types of questions or different types of problems. So this is really what I'm going to be going through and essentially teaching you as we're going through and learning the material. What I will also be doing too is that I've created these different chapter overviews. And so you can find these on YouTube. But as we're kind of going through over here and seeing, this is something that actually, I'm not even sure if this is unlisted. So you're going to get access to like some unlisted stuff. It's kind of exciting. So you're going to have access to things that normally students wouldn't have access to. The other, probably the bigger one, is in terms of what I will also be doing is providing you access to lectures, right? So when I go through and teach the class, whenever I do a lecture with students, it is going to be unlisted. So I have a lot more videos than you actually see on YouTube. It's just a lot of them are unlisted, and that's really just for the privacy of my students. But this is really kind of how I will go through and teach the class. So you're going to have a lot of material to go through and do. With Wiley Plus, you have to basically buy that for this class. You will also need it for 202B. If you're taking it at IVC, if you want to repeat intermediate accounting later on, the way that I've structured Wiley, though, is I'm going to have the answers always available and everything else. Now, the thing about teaching at Irvine Valley College is, one, I'm treated really well by the administration. It's a great place to work. But not only that, and you don't really hear me say that about a lot of employers. When you teach at a 4-year university, a lot of times they're going to come at you and they're going to say, you have to curve this class to a 2.3, 2.6, highest you can go is a 2.6. I don't want that because I think that the grade should basically be what you earn, not by some gate. So, excuse me. So it's one of those things where it's like the frustration I have of essentially teaching in an environment where I have to essentially punish students, I just don't appreciate. Now, generally my classes are going to be pretty challenging. So, if you want an A, you're going to have to earn it. But it's one of those things where I just don't like having the GPA requirement. I am going to talk about, though, because this class will not transfer, I would really kind of go through and take the class pass, no pass. So again, that's how I would go through and look at doing this. Now, in terms of how we go through and approach the material, Wiley 18th edition, which is going to be the book we're going to be using. Most of the time I've taught on the 17th or 16th edition. But what the 18th edition did is it said basically made chapter 1 of the 17th into 0. So instead of the 17th, where it'd be 1 through 3, Wiley 18th is 0 through 2. Exam 2, and basically your first exam is only going to be worth 100 points out of 1,000. And if you look at over here, like the 4 exams, the first one's worth 100. The other 3 exams are worth 220 points each. But the very first exam, all I'm really going to be doing is testing to make sure you know the conceptual framework of financial reporting. And then the second part of it is going to be that if I give you an unadjusted trial balance, some additional information, can you make a multi-step income statement? Can you make a statement of retained earnings? And can you prepare a classified balance sheet? I need to make sure that you know how to do those things before we go into the next section. So over here for the second exam, we're going to be covering discontinued operations, which is something I just kind of showed you guys. Basic cash flows, some balance sheet issues like with cash and cash equivalents. Our friends at Roku found out about that. We're also going to be going through and dealing with present value concepts. I'm going to really strike that home because it's very, very important. We're also going to be going through and doing revenue recognition. So this is going to be your exam 2. Your exam 3 is going to cover chapters 6 through 8, which is cash, accounts receivable, inventory costing, dollar value LIFO, retail cost methods of inventory estimation. So there's not as much on that particular exam, but on the final exam, you've got impairments, assets getting drunk. No, it's just assets that don't have the same, usefulness as we had previously, or maybe there's been a decline in value, or basically a decline in future undiscounted cash flows, but also talking about intangibles as well as investments. So really what the first semester of intermediate accounting covers is really the balance sheet side of the equation. When you notice this, we actually cover more chapters in the very first semester. And it's because when you take the second semester of intermediate accounting, it's a lot heavier in terms of the topics that are going through and being covered. So going back to the breakdown. So just kind of seeing over here, let me just show you the syllabus. So basically what's going to happen is every class period, I'm going to have an assignment for you to turn in. You're going to handwrite it out and you're going to submit it either in class or just show it to me in class, or you can submit it online. So again, and this is going to be due the day after class, right? So if our first class is on August 21st, the due date for the turn-in assignment will be the following day at 11:59 p.m. on Canvas. Or again, if you're showing up to campus, then I can basically show it to you there. Coming over here, so you have like basically the different in-class assignments for every chapter. And then you have the Wiley Plus homework. The Wiley Plus homework is worth a collective 84 points. So again, it's something that I've kind of discounted a little bit, but it's not to me as important. The way that you learn accounting is really by going through and writing out everything. So that's going to basically be the breakdown of the class. 4 exams, 760 points, in-person homework, Wiley Plus homework, total of 1,000 points. And I try to do every single one of my classes this way. It's just a lot easier for me to go through and to do the record keeping on. So in terms of other so this is basically the grade breakdown. And then just a few other things. So I really love to teach this class. And what I have found is that I actually really enjoy teaching it more at IVC. And this is nothing against Cal State Fullerton, where I just finished teaching. It's just that when I'm put into a situation where I have a class that has a GPA of a 3.53, and I have to try to force it down by giving exams that are just really brutal, it's just not very pleasant. But at IVC, like instead of having, for example, like for this first exam, you'll have 2 hours. At Fullerton, you have like 1 hour, 15 minutes. For this exam here, you'll have 2 hours and 50 minutes. At Fullerton, you had hour 15. So as you can kind of tell, like the academic torture that I inflicted on my students at Fullerton this past semester was pretty terrible. But again, it's because the department has that GPA requirement, and I have to go through and follow by what they wanted me to do. So it is what it is. Okay. So let's just kind of talk though a little bit more about basically the class. Again, what I'm really trying to do is to make it so when you get to the CPA exam, but I promise hold on, let me go through and use Roger. Hold on. So Roger Becker. So really what intermediate accounting basically is going to be helping you with, at least for the exam as it currently sits, is for financial accounting and reporting. And so as you can kind of see over here, like revenue recognition, basic concepts of financial statements, dollar value LIFO, lower of cost or market, will be covering that, inventory estimation, inventory costing, intangibles, PP&E. So a lot of this we're going to be going through and using while we're taking intermediate accounting. So you're going to learn it in my class. And again, my greatest concern, and this always is what gives me stress, is that you go into a CPA review course and you don't know what you're doing, right? So I can't necessarily, like, if you take my class and barely pass, you are going to have to go through and learn the material at some point in time. But I do know that if you put the time into the class, and I'm always talking to my former students, the question I always ask them is, did I adequately prepare you for the CPA exam? Or what happened when you went to go review? And he basically told me there was nothing new that I hadn't seen before in terms of the topics that you covered in the class. So that's very, very important to me. So I'm not teaching towards the CPA exam. I really try to take more of a practical approach when I teach intermediate accounting. But what I am trying to go through and do is to get you fully prepared so that when you go and start studying for the CPA exam, that you're basically hitting the ground running. And that's the most important thing to me on all this stuff. So yeah. But in any event, that's kind of like my overview basically for the class. If you're taking my class right now, or if you're enrolled in it, that's awesome. I should have this basically published, hopefully within the next short period of time. Again, if you are going to be going through, and taking the exams online, that's okay. You can either take them online or take them in person. So it's entirely up to you in terms of how you want to go through and do it. But yeah, I will be using, if you do take it online, I do use a software called Proctorio. So if you have any questions, thank you for watching today. I really appreciate you again being a part of the channel, liking and subscribing to my videos. Now let's just see, what else did I have in here? Yeah, if you want to become a CPA, we'll talk about that in the orientation. Exams, attendance, exam upload, deleting the exam, all that other kind of fun stuff. So yeah, so that's kind of how I will go through and teach the course. If you have any questions about the class, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Or as I said before, if you go over here to Irvine Valley College, and if I come over here to IVC, I take a look at class schedule. Go to class schedule, go to fall 2023, click on accounting. I go down here to accounting 202A. So if I come over here to 202A, this will be the class you'll go through and see. And this is the class you're going to want to go through and register for. So also to keep myself honest, this is something else that you can always go through and do. Let's see here. This is the worst thing for, hold on. So you'll see over here, which students have recently torched me, 1BH. Yeah, and if you go through and kind of like look, you'll get a sense of how I go through and teach my classes. Let's just see if we can kind of do this. So I have one review for 202A back in December 2021. Okay, so there you go. Yeah. Wow, hold on, here's another 202A. There you go. So yeah, so just, do your diligence. I'm not going to go crazy. I am a CPA and an attorney, so sometimes I tend to lie on the legal side. I'm just kidding. I just tend to over exaggerate sometimes, but that's really what's happening basically for this fall 2023 semester. Hopefully you'll join us in the class at Irvine Valley College. I look forward to hopefully seeing you on future videos, and have a great rest of your week. Have a good one.